All right, we got the stator wrecking machine all set up. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is a custom built 100-ton electric motor stator split-in pulling machine, which consists of this press, that hydraulics, and then soon to come a whole nother feature that probably no one's ever seen before. So I don't know if I'm going to leave my vise here. I gotta determine if these motors are worth processing. Here's one broke down. It actually came apart pretty easy. Basically, I just made a cut down the side, the end popped off, and then that's the stator. That weighs 2 pounds. The whole thing weighed 4.4 pounds and would be worth $1.14. So I don't know if there's $1.14 worth of copper in here. I'm iffy if this is even going to be worth it, but let's stick it in here. Stick that in there. We're going to get some lube. Now this oil that I'm using for lube is literally AC compressor oil. Okay. Make sure that looks centered. Now this is all temporary. I need to get a permanent V-block that locks down into here so I have repeatability. Right now I don't have any repeatability. I just kind of eyeball it and put it in there, and that's how the first nick in this blade happened. That blade is not cheap. That is a real deal stator splitting blade from a machine that was manufactured to split stators. It was like $500. So let's see what we got. Nice. I'd say that did a pretty good job splitting it. Now, in order for me to pull that, I got to remove this jig and put a whole nother jig in there. I'm just going to try to pry that out real quick with like a pair of pliers or something. I just need to get a quick weigh in on all the parts to see if it's actually worth me pulling it, or if I'm just going to sell it as an electric motor. Actually came out pretty easy. Okay. Now I'm going to get the weights on all this stuff, and we'll see if it was worth it or not. So it's 0.66 on the, I'll throw that in with prepared. 0.66 on the number 2 copper. 2.2 on the prepared, and then I'll send that lollipop as iron aluminum. 0.99. Alright, 1 second, let me add this up and we'll see if it was worth doing all that or if we're selling it off. Copper's down, man. So 0.66, I get 325 for the number 2 copper. 214, it's actually more than I thought. That's more than just the motor by itself is $1.14. So I'm literally getting $1 more for breaking it down just on the copper. 17 cents on the prepared steel, and then 14 cents on the iron aluminum for 245, and that is a gain of $1.31 over just if I just sold them off. And since there was like 23 or no, actually 24, it's like $30 extra. Now, if I can pop these apart in 30 minutes and split them, that might be worth it. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and split them just to kind of get me back in the groove of working with the stator wrecker. So there's a bunch of these things over here. I got a plasma cut. This one I forgot, I got to grind the bolts off. I got 2 big stators over there. I'm gonna go ahead and get all these prepped and run them through the machine, kind of get my stator splitting and pulling legs back. It's been a while since I ran the machine, so I'm gonna do them, get this stuff out of the way, and then I can focus on the AC compressors back there, and we're gonna keep that stuff separate. I gotta see if that was actually worth it. I'm kind of iffy if that was worth 400 bucks. I got to get the weights, and the guy was kind of funny. He didn't write down what they paid me. They just wrote down the weight and what I owed them. So I forgot what the weight was. I thought I took a picture of it. I could have deduced what price it was. I think I'm right around 30 cents a pound they charge me for this stuff, and I don't know if it's worth it. So like I said, especially copper went down, so I'll need 130 pounds of copper out of this. I don't know if I see 130 pounds in there. You know, I'd like for the copper by itself to get me into some profit, and then the steel, that's, you know, a little bit of gravy on top. So we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and time lapse this. I'm gonna blow through this stuff real quick, probably get out the plasma cutter. I just got some new tips for it, and get some more copper in the bucket. Oh, I forgot to show, we had that was some number 2 wire I stripped, but we got some big old nuggets. These coils here for them, these are from them 1500 watt transformers. I used to have a cable here, but I snagged it one day with the forklift and ripped it off. 7.93 pounds, basically 8 pounds on these coils. Those are nice. Man, when I used to get a lot of them, not so much anymore, but when you run a bunch of them at 3 to 5 a minute, man, you're making money. Oh, I totally forgot I had more over here. We might have 130 pounds of copper, I don't know. All right, enough yapping, let's get the splitting. His operation's actually going pretty quick. The main thing I found, you really got to have these things centered. And this whole rig right here needs to be rebuilt. Okay, I'm not sure where the GoPro died yesterday, but I just blew through that stuff. They actually went pretty quick. We got like 180 pounds in the drum. Well, maybe 150 pounds in the drum. Now, I got the machine dialed in for basically those sizes. And then I have, this was an electric motor, but it was with it. So that is the big blue one. I'm just gonna leave that crap on the floor because it's heavy. That goes with that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones we're gonna take a sample of and weigh the components and see how much each one was actually worth. And then obviously we're gonna have a total on everything when we're done. But I wanna see like how much is this round one worth? How much is this skinny tall one worth? And the oval one, and then the big fat oval one. You know, I got to make sure that it's worth it and at what price range we can be buying this stuff. Obviously, because I was building the machine while trying to process this stuff, this was not efficient at all. So I'm not expecting to actually make money like time wise, but as long as there's like money to be made, the time portion I will dial in and I will get that streamlined. So in the future, I mean, we'll just blow through a whole bunch of this stuff. So this is going to be some repetitive stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and split these. Let's just see how well this one's splitting. Oh, have it in the right direction. Cut through that like butter. Oh, I think that's aluminum. That was my other thing is how many aluminum ones are we going to come across? Okay, I actually have to put the jack under here. This thing's rocking all over. You don't want to be flexing that blade. But as you can see, it's splitting those relatively easy. I'm going to go ahead and jack that up so there's just upward pressure because this thing picks itself up off of these. The way this press is mounted, it's backwards. It should have the feet on the ground. Everything's being supported by the actual carriage, which is normally supposed to be sitting down. As you can see, these are sitting up. So anyway, I'm gonna blow through these. Once we get on to like the big ones, we'll come back and do them live. Those are probably gonna have to be pecked a little bit, you know, split it and rotate it. Other than that, this is going relatively simple. And pulling these, I know for a fact, because every one I've ever done has been super easy because these things live their life in a bath of oil. So we'll run through this and hopefully make a couple dollars. just got that one. Nice. I don't think this one's gonna go. Yeah. All right. Oh, snap. That one got all into the metal. Nice. Bottomed out. Probably have to put a spacer under this one. Or just rotate it. Uh-oh. It got wedged in there. So, two things would eliminate all this problem I just had. One, a proper V-block, and two, more stroke on that ram. Look at this one. This thing got all mangled up. Okay, we got one more big boy. Got all kinds of tabs on here. This thing was like those generator stators. It had tabs to keep it from rotating in there. I guess that thing produced a lot of torque. Not having enough stroke is absolutely killing my production. So we're gonna have to remedy that like immediately. I can't be doing this every time. I just need to put them in there, no matter how big or small, and split them. Probably should have my safety glasses on. God, this was an epic fail. I should have checked them coils. They're freaking aluminum. Wow. Well, that was a huge waste of time and resources, and probably a huge waste of money. Wow, I can't believe that. This is all this was aluminum. All these right here. So we only got that in copper. Now I will say, these ones here I think are going to be profitable. You know, when I bought this, I really didn't even I had a bad feeling about the bin because of all the small ones that were in there. They look like a bunch of air refrigerator compressors, probably what those were. And the fact that that big giant one, what a waste, man. Wow. Yeah, that guy in the comments wasn't lying when he said I was going to be disappointed about this one. That's a huge disappointment, man. All right, well, we still need to move on. Let's see what we get out of the copper ones. And I'll tell you what, that was hard, man. That did not want to push through that. I guess even the stator wrecker don't like aluminum. I'm gonna get set up on pulling, and then we'll see how much we get out of this. All right, let's see if we can't put some copper in the bucket. Nice chunks of copper there. So easy. Try something a little harder. This was that electric motor. I forgot to split it, so I just cut the end off with the grinder real quick. I didn't feel like setting all that back up just to do one. It's gonna pull through the whole length, so it's gonna be a good test. Oh, we're out of stroke. You gotta be kidding me. There's the piece I cut off. so much harder when you don't split it in half. Nice jump, though. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before? Massive V8. Would you say that was, Steve, a Ford engine?
Yeah.
We got the engine whisperer over here.